Hey guys, it's Rachel. So today I am going to be telling you my top 10 favorite albums of the decade. Now, spoiler alert, I gave you guys some runner-ups because I possibly could not go without mentioning the runner-ups that I have on this list. And also I would like to preface that all of Taylor's albums, Speak Now, Red 1989, Reputation, and Lover, are in my favorite albums, but I tried to narrow it down to just one to tell you guys because there are so many other good albums that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So I just wanted to disclaim that. You guys know, if you know anything about me, possibly whatsoever, you guys know that I love Taylor Swift. So I wanted to put that out there and not just shove it all in your face because, like I said, there's so many other good albums that I wanted to mention that I've absolutely loved throughout the decade. I've also tried to pick albums that have stayed consistent in my life, like that I've loved literally since they came out throughout the decade to like now. So yeah, I am so excited to tell you guys them. I'm gonna go through my 10 to my absolute favorite, and then I'll do the runner-ups at the very end. So yeah, let's just get started. So, number 10 is When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish. And I put it kind of near the bottom because it hasn't been out that terribly long, and I started listening to Billie this year. I know I sound like a bandwagoner, but I absolutely do love Billie Eilish, and I think she's very talented. She has such a unique personality. Her personality is so special, and I just wanted to say that. Like, I think she's genuinely so nice. Like, I watch her interviews and stuff, and my friend actually met her when she came here a couple years ago, and I literally love her so much. And then her music is just so unique and like such nothing like I've ever heard before. And so I just wanted to say that I Love You is such a beautiful song by Billie, and it's probably my favorite Billie Eilish song, and I don't know, she's so diverse and so talented. I love that album so much. I listened to it a lot. So I absolutely did have to put that in my top 10, and it's really, for it to be in my top 10 says something because there were so many amazing albums that I put in here, and it slid its way in there very quickly. So, yes, yeah. Alright, number 9 is Evolution by Sabrina Carpenter. So I had the pleasure of meeting Sabrina Carpenter when she was doing her radio promo tour for Thumbs, and my mom, Bobby, and I got to meet her, and she was so sweet. And I remember when Evolution came out, I got it for Christmas that year, and I have been listening to it ever since. No Words is a beautiful song. Literally, there are so many songs. There's not one song on that album that I dislike, and there's not a skip. And Shadows, oh my god, I just remembered, that's such a good song. Oh my god. So yeah, I had to put it in here because it's truly been one of my favorites, and she is so underrated. Stop sleeping on Miss Sabrina Carpenter. She's so talented. She's such a nice person. And yeah, she deserves so much more hype than she gets. And yeah. So, number 8 is The First Time by Kelsea Ballerini. That album is absolutely perfect. It has so many good songs on it. And when I was selecting these albums, I was thinking, do these albums have skips for me? And a lot of them, absolutely not. And if they were in my top 10, they didn't have any skips. So, yeah. So, The First Time by Kelsea Ballerini. I started listening to Kelsea when Taylor started talking about her, and I was like, oh, she like seems interesting. And I had heard, no, I hadn't listened to her at all. Let me back this up. I hadn't listened to Kelsea, and Taylor was like talking about her. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna listen to her album. And I listened to XO, which is the first song on The First Time, and I was like absolutely hooked right away. Like I was like, oh my god, this is such a good song. But Underage is one of my favorites. Looking at Stars. Like I said, Stilettos. Oh my, there's literally no skips on that album for me. It's such a good album, and when I met Kelsey, I did like the XO pose, and yeah, The First Time is a good album. It's one of my all-time favorite albums, as we can tell. Number 7 is Multiply by Ed Sheeran. I remember the day this album came out. I went to Target with my mom to go get it, and I love this album so much. I love Ed Sheeran. I really do. He's always been pretty much like my favorite right after Taylor, and yeah, he is so good. And I remember when I saw him on the Red Tour, I just had to know more about this man. Like, I'm not kidding. I was like, oh my gosh, this man is so talented. I just got to know more about him. I listened to his debut album, and then I was so excited when Multiply came out. So, yeah. Number 6 is Midnight Memories by One Direction. And I told Bobby, we exchanged Christmas gifts earlier, and I was like, Bobby, you're going to be really proud of me. Midnight Memories, I'm doing a video, and I'm doing my favorite albums of the decade, and Midnight Memories is on it, and she was like, oh my god. So, yeah, she's a huge One Direction fan, and especially Harry. But, yeah, so Midnight Memories is an album by One Direction. If you guys don't know who that is, they're just a small band that existed. But Midnight Memories has no skips, like Stronger, Happily, Little Black Dress. Like I said, Little White Lies. Oh my god, that's such a good song. There's no skips. There's absolutely no skips, and it's such a good album. And this is actually kind of funny. So I'm going to tell you guys a little story. I bought Midnight Memories because I felt bad because Taylor and Harry had dated, and Harry's fans weren't the nicest. One Direction fans weren't the nicest to Taylor, and so I kind of did not like One Direction as a result. But then I woke up one day, and I realized it wasn't the band. Harry is the nicest. Like, he's never said a bad word about Taylor. And it was just the fans. But, so I felt bad, and I used my Christmas money one year to buy Midnight Memories. And, ladies and gentlemen, it's now one of my favorite albums to ever exist. Enough said. So, number 5 is 727 by Fifth Harmony. I really miss Fifth Harmony, and I'm not talking about, like, the Fifth Harmony that existed, like, when Camilo left. Like, I'm talking Fifth Harmony. Like, y'all, like, you have no idea. That was the first concert Bobby and I ever went to together. We saw them on the 727 tour, and it was so good. It's still one of my favorite concerts I've ever seen, and that album, for the 50th time in this video, I'm going to say it has no skips. Like, No Way is a good song. Literally, there's so many songs on that album that, like, I love. And when I listen to it, there's not a skip. So, yeah, it did make it in my favorite albums of the decade. Number 4 is Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande. And it was released in 2016, and it's such a good album. It's one of those albums that I would always, like, listen to before I really knew what Bluetooth was or, like, an aux cord was. Like, it was always a CD that I would take in the car and, like, listen to with my mom, or it was always just one that I had by my side. And I absolutely love this album. It's so good. Again, no skips, and it's my favorite Ariana album. Yeah. Alright, so number 3. We're getting close to number 1. When the Sun Goes Down by Selena Gomez. You guys have no idea how much I love this album. And I was listening to it the other day, like, Whiplash, My Dilemma exists. Like, I literally listened to this album on repeat so much. Like, this was around, like, the time she had, like, her Kmart, like, line of clothes, and, like, I remember my mom and I would, like, go to Kmart and all like trying to like find her little clothing pieces. I had so many like tank tops. Can I speak? Tank tops and stuff. I still love Selena. Like, you guys know that. And Taylor, Ed, Selena have always been like my top three. Taylor, and then like Selena and Ed. There's just no way to amount anyone to ever compare to Taylor in my heart, but you know what I'm talking about. I love Selena so much, and When the Sun Goes Down was always like a happy album. Like, no matter what I was going through, like, I just like felt so like carefree and like happy when I'd listen to the album. I was listening to it the other day while I was getting ready, and I was like, oh my god, like, I literally pulled my journal out and I was like, okay, it's on my list, right? So yeah, it's number 3. But my favorite Selena Gomez album is Stars Dance, and that was released in 2013, and that is my number 2 favorite album of the decade. And like I said, this list was really hard to make, so this is really saying something. I remember when this album came out, I literally, you have no idea, like, I would listen to this song like on repeat in the car. Like I said, again, before I knew what Bluetooth or like an aux cord was, this was my jam. And I remember my dad and I would like always like go down to like the beach area, and we'd, you know, take, you know, like drives down there just for fun, or like we'd go like, I'd go with him to like photograph like something down there, because he's also like, he loves to photograph stuff, so, and he's very good at it. So we'd always go like on like little drives, or like go somewhere before where like we went to dinner, and that album would always be playing. Like, Stars Dance was one of the top albums. That's my stan album by Selena, period. Like, oh my god, I can't even explain. Wow. So, my number 1 favorite album, you guys might guess, as I prefaced in the beginning of this video, I did say that all of Taylor's albums, of course, would be my favorite albums of the decade that she released this decade. But there was one in particular that is my absolute favorite. There is nothing that could compare to this album. And that album is called 1989. This album truly made all my dreams come true. I got to meet Taylor during this era, and she found me during this era, and that doesn't amount to anything. Like, I had so many amazing memories with this album, and there's not one bad song. Like, all you had to do was say I wish you would. Like, this album is such a story that there's literally no freaking way for me to like tell you how much I physically love this album. There are timeless songs on this album, Blank Space, Style, that you guys probably know, but if you guys have the chance, please listen to the whole thing. It's such like a story from start to finish. The whole era was magical. Like, I love the Polaroid aspects of it. Everything about 1989 just is everything to me. So that makes it my number 1 album of the decade. And hello? There's a helicopter flying around out there. But yeah, 1989 is my album of the decade. So, with that being said, runner-ups: Memories Do Not Open by the Chainsmokers. I know you guys are probably going to click off this video now that you've heard me say that, but hear me out. It's actually a really good album. There's some really good songs, and I can't say I love everyone, so that's why it is a runner-up. And some of my runner-ups, there are absolutely no skips, but, you know, we had to narrow it down somehow. So, like I said earlier, Lover, Reputation, Red. Now that I've said 1989 is my number 1, you guys, you know, that's, yeah. So, and then Speak Now. Obviously, are in there, but you know, we going out of the box. I really tried for you guys. And Divide by Ed Sheeran. There's a song on that album called Supermarket Flowers that is probably one of the most meaningful songs to me of all time. And I can't listen to that song without crying. And it just makes me very emotional to listen to. So, yeah, there's no way for me to ever thank Ed enough for writing that song. And, yeah. So, the next album on my runner-up list is an album that was released actually on my birthday. And it's called Revival by Selena Gomez. And Revival is such a good album. There's really no skips on this album. Like I said, I had a really hard time narrowing all these songs down. I'm gonna be really, really honest. Like, this probably is in my top 10. I really don't know. Like, there's really no way. But Revival is so special, and it's a good album. And, man, like, Me and the Rhythm Exist. Camouflage. Y'all know that song? Camouflage, Nobody. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Emotion and Dedicated by Carly Rae Jepsen are also in there, because Dedicated is such a good album, and thank you to my best friend Bobby for getting me hooked on Carly Rae Jepsen, because I'm truly hooked. Emotion is literally such a good album too. Carly Rae Jepsen is underrated too. Her and Sabrina Carpenter deserve more respect. Thank you. Not an Apology by B. Miller. After I saw B. Miller on the Revival tour with Selena, I was obsessed. Like, I listened to this album so much, and there's literally not a skip on it. Paper Doll, a good song. There's so many good songs, and it's an underrated album. Someone should say it. I don't know what B. Miller's doing right now. What is she doing? But yeah, she majorly talented. Blown Away by Carrie Underwood. I didn't have that on my list, but now I'm thinking about it, and there's no way I can't mention this album in this video, so I'm gonna look it up and make sure I'm not a clown. I think it was released in 2012, but we're gonna just make sure that I'm not stupid. It was released in 2012. Maybe I'm an intellectual. Thank you so much. When was Play On released? Because that's also one of my favorite albums. See, I can't. Oh, no, that was 2009. Okay. So yeah, Blown Away, yes, definitely in here. So, the last one is Demi by Demi Lovato. I had a short and sweet Demi Lovato phase, but I still can't resist. This album is very good. So, Firestarter, no skips on this album. None. But I could go on and on, but I'm not going to, because I see the timestamp and I'm like, oh my god, I've been talking about this for almost 20 minutes now. So, I want to know below, what is your favorite album of the decade? And if you have any albums, like music recommendations that you think I'd enjoy, like, please let me know. I think that would be so exciting to, like, see what you guys want me to listen to. Or, yeah, I sincerely love music so much, and there has been so much good music in this decade that has come out that I really can't even, like, fathom thinking about putting all of it into one video, or literally into one thought. I love music. I love how it impacts me, and I love that it's always there for me. So, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. I really had a great time trying to decide what my top 10 were, and I love you guys so much. I hope I entertained you in some way, and I hope sincerely I see you, yes you, in my next one. Bye guys.